Hello and welcome to this tutorial on getting started in After Effects. I'm Luisa Winters. All right, let's get started. Let's go ahead and open the program. And when the program opens up, it'll look like this. You have a choice. You can click on New Project. You can open an existing project. You can open a project that you had worked on before. You can see the last one that I worked on. You can just go to Learn. You can go to Sync Settings, etc., etc. So I'm not going to get too much into that. All we're going to do is click on New Project. So before I start working on this, let's go ahead and save it. And that's just File, Save. So here we go, File, Save As, and then click on Save As. I'm going to save this on my desktop. You can save it whatever you want. I'm going to create a folder for it on the desktop. So I'm on the Mac. I'm just going to click on the new folder icon here. And I'm going to call it After Effects Tutorial. And I can't type, so there you go. After Effects Tutorial. Now I'm just going to click on Create, and I'm going to save my project there. I'm going to save this project with the great name of 01, and that's it. All I have to do is click on Save. Okay, so now let's go ahead and import some files. At this point, I would like to say that, listen, you don't have to have the same files as I have. This works with any files that you have. So I use some of my drone footage of the Baltimore Inner Harbor here. So let's go ahead and import some stuff. That's just File, Import, File. So that works if I'm going to import one file or even if I'm going to import many. So it's the same choice. I know there's multiple files here, but they pretty much do the same thing. I'm just going to choose some of these files. So I'm just going to choose 5 or 6 of these. And now I'm just going to click on Open. So this Create Composition is checked. I don't want to create a composition, so I'm just going to deselect it and click on Open. And there it is. All of my files are now in the project panel in After Effects. If I click on the gray to deselect, that's a very common thing to do. You can also press F2 to deselect, but clicking on the gray works just as fine. I can now click on one of them at a time and notice that this little preview area here is giving me information on that clip. Not just the name, but the frame size. In other words, how many pixels. This one happens to be 4096 by 2160, so I shot this in 4K, and I'm going at 29.97 frames per second, so this is NTSC drop frame. So here we go. If I go to the next one, it's the same thing and the same. And this one is actually Ultra HD. I shot this 3840 by 2160 and it's giving me the duration. And of course, I shot this at 23976. So you can see that there's a lot of information in here on the file that you can use for your for creating the composition, for editing, for making decisions, that sort of thing. Alrighty, so now that I have the files that I want, let's go ahead and create a composition. You can create a composition a number of ways. It doesn't really matter how you do it. Let me just show you a couple of different ways of doing that. You can click on Composition, New Composition. Notice the shortcut, which is Command N. That would be Control N on Windows. So I can do that. I can click here and it opens the Composition Settings panel. I'm going to cancel out of this. I can also click on this icon at the bottom of the project panel, and it also opens the composition settings. I'm going to cancel out of this. I can press Command N, remember that's Control N on Windows, and I get the same thing. So in here, I would actually need to find a preset that matches my file settings. In other words, a true 4K. And so this one is Ultra HD, as you can see. Or even better yet, let me cancel out of this. The easiest way to create a composition that matches your clip is simply by right-clicking your clip and choose New Comp from Selection. You can even add different clips to this. So let's just say I select only one and choose New Comp from Selection. It creates the comp, it puts it in here, and that's all good. I'm going to undo that, Command-Z, Control-Z on Windows. And now I'm going to select several of these files. In fact, I'll select all of them. And now I can right-click and I can choose New Comp from Selection. And now it's going to ask me, hey, do you want one composition and you want to put all of these clips in there? Or do you want one composition per clip? And let's just say, no, I want all of those clips in the same composition. So now it's asking me, hey, which one of these clips do you want to use as a template to create the composition? In other words, how big do you want it? Remember, I have some clips in here that are 4K and some that are Ultra HD. Very close, granted, but not identical, right? So it's just asking me and I need to make a decision. So I want them regular 4K, so I'm going to choose number 1. And if I have stills, which I could use in my composition, it's just asking me how long do I want them to last for. Then it's asking me if I want to add it to the render queue. I don't want to render this yet. Or if I want to sequence the layers. In other words, do you want to play them all at the same time or one after the other? I don't want to play them one after the other, so I don't want to sequence the layers. All I have to do is click OK, and now all of my clips are in the composition. So creating a composition in After Effects is really, really easy. Now that I have my composition, I'm going to press Command-S, which is Control-S on Windows, and now my file is saved. All right, we're almost done. All I want to talk about is how to zoom out of the comp panel. You can use your mouse scroll wheel while your mouse is on top of the panel. You can also use the period and the comma keys. Those are also the greater than, lesser than icons. And if you want to zoom in and out of the timeline, that is the plus and the minus key in your main keyboard. All right, that will conclude this tutorial on getting started with After Effects. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.